Hello everyone, I am the Double Agent here at MagFest, and 2011 was actually a pretty fantastic year for music. I mean, sure, after the defective bombshell that was 2010, pretty much anything would have been an improvement, but honestly, I don't...
Well, look who finally came out of his bunker.
Oh, hey Mark, how you doing, and what are you doing in my hotel room?
It's my hotel room, buddy, and honestly, not doing all that well. Really stressed out. Had to come down to MagFest to get away from it all. I just was running from the six with my woes, if you want to say that.
That was awful.
I know, I'm sorry. It's just between Drake filling up the charts with Billboard Breakdown for the past year, and then you have Views from the Six, the hype that never goes away. I just need a break from the charts right now and all that Drake.
Well, I was just about to film Worst Songs of 2011, if you want to hop on that.
Oh, maybe you pick a year with a little bit less Drake in it.
Okay, let's see. His first song was in 2009, so how does 2008 work?
Honestly, that's not bad. I can go with that. Can we sit down to do it? I don't feel like doing this in a corridor.
All right. So I'm the Double Agent, once again.
And I'm Mark from Spectrum Pulse. We talk about music.
Just stop there this time, dude. Don't lie to yourself.
Don't lie to lie anymore, buddy. The tagline is back properly. But let's talk about 2008 for a bit. And boy, is there a lot to say. 2008 was a bit of a weird year.
Well, I wouldn't really say weird. I'd probably say transitional. Crunk was slowly morphing into club music, pop divas were making a very short-lived comeback, and country and rock were non-presents. Everything was in the process of solidifying itself, meaning that nothing was actually solidified yet. And as a result, so many songs that would have never caught steam in any other year slipped through the cracks this year, and I honestly don't know how. Looking at this year-end list, I barely remember half of these.
Well, of course you wouldn't remember them. You were like 8 years old around the time. But speaking as someone who was graduating high school in 2008, arguably the time when pop music would mean the most to me growing up, most of these songs have not made a lasting impact, especially when compared to 2007, which was just an incredibly diverse and enjoyable year for the Hot 100. A lot less stood out as memorable in the 2008, and while there were some truly excellent songs, I wouldn't really consider it a banner year.
2008 is a year that stands out more than anything. The good stuff stood out by being really good, and the bad stuff stood out by being everywhere.
And, of course, we are not looking at the good stuff today. Can I just go get drunk and play Magic like I did at MagFest last year?
Keep your deck tucked away until we're done, bro. These are the top 10 worst hit songs of 2008.
Number 10.
2008 is notable for the debut of many artists, and unfortunately, one of the least interesting ones ultimately turned out to be one of the most irrelevant. Flo Rida.
Flo Rida, despite his lack of personality, absolutely blew up in 2008. His Smash It Low was the biggest hit song of that year. And as a dumb southern rap song, I actually kind of like it. It had a solid hook, it was just a lot of fun, bridging the gap between the crunks and the club.
Dude, do you even remember one line from that song?
Yeah, sure. Apple bottom jeans, boots with the
Besides
fur.
the chorus?
Well, actually I think I do, but I probably shouldn't. I mean, it's not like I'm asking rap dance songs to be intelligent. Hell, that's why initially I was willing to let Flo Rida off the hook completely. But then I remember this monstrosity.
This is my jam. Keep the party into the AM.
This is probably the worst thing Flo Rida could have followed up Low with. The stupid, awkward verses are carried over note for note, but the fun, memorable T-Pain hook is swapped out for a Will.i.am poetry reading that's even duller than the verses.
I don't understand. Make me throw my hands in the air.
Who made this beat? The clicky stock percussion, the generic synth loops. This sounds like something I could have made with a trial version of FL Studio in 2002. Of course. I mean, I knew this dude was lazy, but come on, did someone really pay him to take a stock beat off an electric piano and auto-tune it? And it charted. Come on, people, think about the message you're sending to the industry with this shit.
For me, the production doesn't really bother me as much. The buzzing, brassy synth, it does stick in your head, but the beat is this oddly popping thing that completely lacks any sort of punch, not helped by those peripheral key flutters that feel like musical question marks. What are you trying to say with this, Will.i.am? It's not like your nasal delivery is conveying anything.
Don't act like any thought went into this, dude. This is just a mismatch of stock sound effects. There's no strength to this. A certain energy that most club songs had at the time is just missing here. It's asking me to put my hands up, but I can only ever imagine doing that to plug my ears as I slowly walk out of the room.
And really, analyzing any Flo Rida song's lyrics is pretty much pointless, especially when the hook dominates the entire song. But from what I can figure out, it seems to be focusing on making a girl famous based upon getting with Flo Rida. And since this previous year, he saw his protege, Natalie LaRose, get one single and pretty much vanish off the face of the earth, we can now prove that line for the complete lie that it is. And one more thing, this song has a key change, based around a pitch shift.
Do I need to say anything more here?
Number 9.
So, one thing that surprised me when going back through this list was how few rock songs actually made the charts in 2008. I mean, I understood it with country, which outside of Taylor Swift really was not all that big that year, but I was shocked how little post-grunge or indie rock managed to break through.
Well, that's not really fair. Viva La Vida hit number 1 this year, and we had Finger Eleven, Linkin Park, and Three Doors Down all in the top 20.
Yeah, and we also had 2007 had all these acts, plus My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, Snow Patrol, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think it's fair to say that for the Hot 100, 2008 was not a great year for rock music. Hell, I'd argue that Pink actually rocked hardest this year with So What? And I guess there was also Shake It by Metro Station. That was okay, I like that.
No, that song was hot garbage.
I said I like it. It's catchy, it's lively, it's fun enough.
I don't see what's so fun about repeating the same word over and over again in the worst accent imaginable.
Let's just shift focus onto something that we both agree on, okay?
I'm so addicted to all the things you do when you're going down me.
2008 was an overall confusing yet decent year for pop music, but it was a particularly terrible year for everything just outside of the top 10. The good songs that charted were massive in terms of both sound and reputation, but the bad songs just kinda lingered, like a fungus. And a bunch of them made it onto the year-end Hot 100, some of them just barely. This song was number 97 on that list, and it is horrible.
This is just one of those songs that sneaks up on you how much it really sucks. Like some sort of persistent migraine. Simply enough, it's a song where this guy clearly detests this girl, but stays with her thanks to spectacular blowjobs. Here's a word of advice, folks. That's not a foundation you want to build even a bad relationship on.
Much every post-grunge act was abysmal in hindsight. But everything about Addicted just represents the worst parts of that genre. It's just a slow, plodding, dirty slab of aggressive nonsense. It tries to carry itself on its darkness alone, but it's not even really all that dark. He just lays out this whiny diatribe, making himself out to be the victim of consistent hate sex. This is the One More Night of 2008. How am I supposed to feel bad for you and your ultimatum when one option leads to freedom and the other leads to nightly blowjobs? I'd honestly take Nickelback over this. At least they throw a couple of shiny guitar riffs in there every once in a while.
And it doesn't help for rock instrumentation. It's got the post-grunge problem. It's sludgy and turgid. But frontman Jared Weeks doesn't have any of the visceral intensity to play up the ugliness of the song, which paradoxically makes it come across as that much more unpleasant. You can imagine any halfway decent Incubus wannabe at karaoke singing this, which makes it all the more excruciating. And because it's post-grunge, you don't even get the saving grace of a solo to at least show off a good groove or riff. Next. Number 8. Oh, it really hurts to put an artist I like on this list. I enjoyed this last guy's album in Technicolor a fair bit, and one of his songs is one of my favorites of 2014. And hell, I never thought he rose above his peers or brought the tightness of other R&B stars of the 2000s like Justin Timberlake or even Robin Thicke before his career blew up and then went to hell in 2013. He was at least still enjoyable. But in the end...
Unlike Mark, I've never liked this guy. The first song I heard from him was a note-for-note clone of Down by Jay Sean, and the second was boring, teen-pandering nonsense. But this is by far the worst thing I've ever heard from him.
Don't want to so fly, don't want to keep you high, have you singing all night like that.
Musically, this is nearly disastrous. The one-note keyboard riff, the blocky percussion, the cell phone beeping noises in the background, the whistly synths in the background. It's everything bad about mid-2000s R&B. But you know, for 2008 Jess McCartney, that's actually an improvement. No, what really kills me here are the lyrics. This was the time in Jesse's career where he was trying to be one of those teen heartthrob artists, which means apparently he thought this was something that 13 to 16-year-old girls wanted to hear from a guy.
Hey, baby girl, I've been watching you all day. Man, the thing you got behind you is amazing. I know you got a man, but this is what you should say. Tell him that I'm leaving, never looking back again. Have you singing all night like that? Yeah.
Hey girl, I like your ass. Are you dating someone already? Oh, that's fine, just dump him and get with me. The sex will be great, trust me. This isn't charming, it's just being a creepy asshole. No girl wants to hear this. This is basically corporatized street harassment.
And nowhere is he remotely convincing in doing any of it. I'm not a big fan of encouraging your prospect to cheat songs in general, but at the very least it can work when the frontman has some presence or raw charisma. Whereas McCartney, in his second verse, he says...
Man, I put my money where my mouth is.
In other words, he's either a blatant liar or is so unconvincing that he needs to reassure the girl that he's actually gonna stick with her when she breaks up with her current paramour. And either way, I'd like to think this is something that inspires more concern than don't stress.
She got me singing, you got me singing.
Say Mark, why did you like this guy again?
Oh, shut up, Ethan.
Number 7.
You know, of all the artists that charted in 2008, it's a little terrifying to think that Miley Cyrus ended up having the most longevity.
Well, you could have seen it coming. This was nearing the peak of the Hannah Montana years, and Miley was starting to transition into the
Mainstream teen pop that actually had some presence in the charts before Glee smashed in 2009. And you know what? To Miley's credit, See You Again is actually a pretty solid song. It had a great groove and is generally far more likable than most of the crap that she's making now.
I'd actually say See You Again was the beginning of the end for Miley. It was a sudden dark turn in her production. The writing is unfittingly clumsy and the synth line is painful.
And you know what? You're entitled to your wrong opinion, but even you have to admit, this wasn't the worst song that Miley put out this year.
Oh, well, yeah, of course, that other song was way, way worse, no question about it. But no, I'd like to discuss this. How is that groove even remotely?
Every time I hear this song, I'm clearly reminded of the most obvious influence, the 1999 film 10 Things That I Hate About You. One of those 90s nuggets of nostalgia that's actually a fair bit better than it has any right to be. I say this because the song shares none of that wit and nuance that characterized the film, as Miley reportedly wrote this on a tour bus immediately after her breakup with Nick Jonas. Seriously.
So this is quite literally the internal monologue of a teenage girl who just went through a breakup. And they played it on the radio.
Now, look, that's not to disparage the internal monologues of teenage girls. Avril Lavigne pretty much built her career off these sort of songs, but the framing doesn't really present it like that, trying to aim for maturity that the writing just does not have.
On top of that, Miley's delivery is just way off the mark here. Her vocals are too weak and petulant to pull out the level of oneness she's going for. Her voice was made for light belting, not this strained speak-singing thing.
It's awkward and silent as I wait for you to say.
She isn't raw enough to pull this off, at least she wasn't at this point in her career.
And it doesn't help that her producer settled her with some of the weakest pop rock guitar tones I've heard since a made-for-TV movie. It's like someone ripped the low end completely out of the mix, with tacked-on strings desperately trying to add class and dignity where there really is none.
I feel like if you replaced the lyrics, you could turn this into a theme song for any Disney sitcom. And knowing what we know now, that's probably where she was at her best.
Number 6. Now, I'm sure many of you remember Natasha Bedingfield, if vaguely. She had a surprising amount of hits in the mid to late 2000s, and yet she never really seemed to build up any kind of reputation. But that doesn't matter. All that matters right now is that I can't stand her. She was a jewel post sellout, never clever or feisty enough to be Sarah Bareilles, not ethereal or quirky enough to match Nelly Furtado, even after Nelly sold out. The only saving grace is that she was in comparison with her brother Daniel, who was somehow even worse. She had a massive hit this year, Pocket Full of Sunshine, which, if I'm being honest, is probably one of my least favorite songs of the entire decade.
Well, unlike Sir Buzzkill here, I'd actually consider Natasha Bedingfield a hidden gem. To me, she was always a constant stream of happiness, which, while tiring after a while, worked in small doses and always managed to shine through in the generally dull sound of pop music in the mid-2000s. These Words was the love song before a love song. Unwritten was just flawless, and if I made retro best lists, Pocketful of Sunshine would probably be somewhere in my top 10 for 2008, though at this point, mostly out of spite.
You know, it's strange to think that such a bland, inauthentic nothing of an artist could be so polarizing. But in 2008, she made a track that epitomizes all that blandness.
A song so lacking in anything substantial or real that even I would have to admit it's fucking garbage.
God, this is insufferable. Everything about this production, the atmospheric effects, the little pitched up vocal loop, the chirpy piano riff, the punchy drum machine, the disgustingly light tone, it's like the worst parts of 2002 combined and digitally enhanced.
You know, it's the same sort of awkward stab at R&B that pop princesses like Jessica Simpson try to stay relevant. And man, it did not work, no matter how many effects you pile onto her voice.
Usually when it comes to auto-tune, if I hear a song enough times, I stop noticing it, even in songs lathered with it like Only One by Kanye West. But not this. I can just barely hear it throughout the entire song. It sounds like Natasha's singing through a paper tube most of the time. It's not natural sounding, it's not even consistent, it just barges in at the worst of times, either right when Natasha Bedingfield reaches the end of a range or right on a melisma. It's so out of place and intrusive, and it really only emphasizes her screechy shrilliness in her performance.
All the things that we used to do, running in and out of my mind. I feel like I owe you my life, but this life trying to keep us apart. They keep calling me back to your heart.
And it's not even the auto-tune which doesn't work for Natasha Bedingfield, it's how painfully miscast she feels. I can see the sort of reflective song working, but it would require that she doesn't sing opposite Sean Kingston, the sort of artist who's barely credible singing about girls when he was on his own songs, let alone opposite a woman nearly a decade older than him. Natasha was 26 when she released this song, but she could have passed for 30 with her delivery. She's not nearly youthful enough to pull off this very immature puppy love type of song, and yet, at the same time, she fails to capture the maturity she needs to be believable here. It's a song about old friends finally hooking up, and yet she's so emotionally disconnected from everything besides happiness that it sounds like she just met the guy. It sounds like young love.
But this life trying to keep us apart. They keep calling me back to your heart.
And that's not even to mention the sloppy writing in general, ranging from the vague sweet nothings like "I really liked you, must have been your attitude," to the somewhat uncomfortable "I'll go if you take me, I'm willing to sacrifice." The lyrics sell themselves as both real and not real, seemingly at the same time. A parallel could probably be drawn to the acoustic sound mixed with the auto-tune, but I have a feeling that any two things that line up in this song are really coincidental. Every detail she brings up just raises more questions. How well did you know him back in high school? Did you used to date? Were you just friends? Do you really think you were cool back in high school? You used to swing in his backyard? In high school? What kind of swinging? Why is there a teenager on this song? Is this the guy you were talking about? What's the number for the police again? Why is this a sacrifice to you? What are you giving up? What do you even have? Why should I care? What am I doing with my life? Should I just end it all? I'm gonna go end it all.
That last one was not a question. Ethan?
Part 2 is on Mark's channel. There's a link in the description, and it should be in the related section if YouTube has any idea what the fuck it's doing.